Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nighttime. In Cincinnati, Ohio on Saturday, the UCF Knights rolled into town and got squashed. It was pretty bad. We're not going to talk about it that much, but we also have a lot of college football to talk about this week. We have our brand new assistant producer, Camden Mowery, on the show. I'm very excited to have him on, but stay tuned. We got a great show for you guys.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Nighttime. I'm your host Taylor Anderson, joined again by my lovely co-host Kyle Dewitt. Kyle, like you said, there was a game played in Cincinnati this weekend. Are you ready to talk about it?
No, but I have to, so let's go and get it over with.
Okay, let's do it. I think the only Knight that had fun this weekend was Tyler Karen, but this game was over by about the second or third play that Cincinnati ran from scrimmage. It was obvious by the UCF's players' body language, as well as being without their 2 starting defensive tackles, which we'll touch on, that UCF could not match Cincinnati's physicality. UCF was not mentally ready to play. There was no get up and go from a player like running back Johnny Richardson, who's one of the fastest players in all of college football right now. The Bearcats closed off running lanes in the early portion of the first quarter, and Richardson, like the majority of the Knights, did not react well to it. He usually makes defenders miss, but regardless of the reason, the UCF players did not come out and represent themselves well at all at the beginning of this game, and that's ultimately the #1 reason why Cincinnati smashed UCF 56-21.
Yeah, I mean, you said it well, Taylor. Johnny Richardson did not get going at all. But the player who did get going was Cincinnati's running back Jerome Ford at 187 yards and 4 touchdowns. You would think that's a really good game, but that was just in the first half. UCF's defense had literally no answer for Jerome Ford, Desmond Ridder, and that Cincinnati offense. It was just really bad all around, Taylor.
Do you think that Ridder is going to be in New York for the Heisman?
I mean, he should. I don't understand why he wouldn't be. He's leading the #2 team in the nation to absolute blowout wins and putting up ridiculous numbers. But maybe even Jerome Ford might even have some talk for the Heisman as well. But I mean, I think that's a little bit talk for next week.
I ultimately agree. So there is a game tonight. It is the Space Game. We are back in the Bounce House. We've seen the Knights really come out and play well when in the Bounce House. So hopefully that gives us some good magic coming in. But UCF will now face a Memphis team that comes into this Friday's game at the Bounce House, averaging 35.9 points per game, good for number 23 in the nation. Considering the Knights allowed 49 points to the Bearcats offense, allowed with 476 yards, there's a reason for concern that the defense will be run over again, and that's just a consistency we've seen throughout this defense. So what are you looking forward to see UCF play against Memphis?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Seth Hannigan, Memphis' quarterback, play. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the AAC, probably the second best quarterback actually behind Desmond Ridder. He has 2,100 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions so far this season. Fifth-year senior Seth Hannigan might actually be an NFL quarterback one day. He might not be a starting NFL quarterback, a star, but he'll be on an NFL roster somewhere. Big arm, a lot of mobility in the pocket, can evade pressure, and he can make almost every single throw that you can ask him to.
When we go back to the defense, Kalia Davis is out for the rest of the season for the Knights, and this was a big-time player for our defense. Very talented. He had huge NFL potential. How do you think this is going to affect this team for the majority of the season?
Well, a big-time thing, especially for tonight's game against Memphis for the Space Game. Memphis' rush offense is also one of the best in the AAC. They have one of the best offenses, and we have one of the worst defenses. But we also have one of the worst offenses, and they have one of the worst defenses as well. So I really don't know how it's going to fare. But losing Kalia Davis and also being without Ricky Barber now for a couple more games, it's really going to hurt our run defense. And Eric Gilliard going to the transfer portal, it's just looking bad all around for our front seven, and Big Cat Bryant can't do it all by himself.
No, and I think some people are being very hard on Big Cat Bryant right now, but like you said, he cannot run this whole defense by himself. There's other players on this team that needs to step up. But when it comes to Memphis, there are a lot of players that UCF needs to be on the lookout for. This is a very talented team coming here to take on UCF. And if UCF wants to beat Memphis, they need to be successful against the Tigers' offense, which worries me with UCF's defense. They will have to do a better job controlling the line of scrimmage because that skill has been lacking all year, every game, every snap. If they don't, it'll just be like Cincinnati, and they're going to let Memphis run all over them. So this defense really needs to step up, but I know that there's some players that you want to talk on too.
Well, the good thing for UCF this game is that the front seven and, well, both offense and defensive lines for Memphis are actually kind of small and they're not that physical. They just have a lot of perimeter players on the outside with a lot of speed. So I think that's going to fare well for UCF in the long haul in this game. But if we get into a shootout, I don't expect us to win this game because Seth Hannigan will outplay Mikey Keene and they're going to end up outscoring more points. But Calvin Austin III, wide receiver for Memphis, he has 50 receptions, 857 yards, and 8 touchdowns. He's their go-to guy on offense. He's the guy who they want to get their ball in their hands, and he's very explosive on the outside.
Agree. There are so many members of this Tiger team that stand out to me. They're just quarterback. He's a true freshman, just like Mikey Keene, but his numbers just outweigh his so much more. Their tight ends are playing like wide receivers in the way that they get around the ball and their stats, with the amount that they're averaging throughout the season. So I don't know. I just don't see our cornerbacks, our defensive line, really standing out against this team. I mean, we're going to get to our primetime picks later on, but I don't know. It's really going to be hard to tell how this UCF team will stand out against Memphis.
Well, the corners really haven't been a big problem for UCF. It's the safeties. Tatum Bethune and Bryson Armstrong, they're great in the run game. Don't get me wrong. But their coverage has been lackadaisical so far this season. And you can see whenever teams like Cincinnati, they would motion players to the opposite side, getting slot players on safeties. And Bryson Armstrong's not hanging with any of the slots, especially for Memphis as well. So, yeah, we have our primetime picks later. We'll get to those picks, but we have to go to commercial break, and whenever we come back, we're going to talk to Camden Mowery about college football from last week.
Welcome to the HTF Hot Wings Challenge. One of you guys actually do hot sauce like regularly?
No.
No.
It's like the least black thing I do.
Oh, wow, okay.
I say Johnny goes first on this one.
I agree.
Now the Buccaneers are going to play the Washington football team.
That can't happen.
It will happen.
I'm terrified.
No, I really hate it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No. You're wrong. If it wasn't for Kanye jumping up on stage and doing the I'm gonna let you finish, but no one would know what this with.
Nitro's dump truck. And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Why is nitro thick? I don't know how many squats I need to do to get up like something like that, but I will do it.
Oh! Oh my God!
Baseball, obvious reasons. Babe Ruth, if you want to go currently. I feel like that's just like a thing.
he jumped off the wall to catch the home run. We made it through all the way to the end. Thank you for joining us.
I'm never doing this again.
It was rough.
Welcome back to Nighttime, everybody. We had a great week of college football this week. I am joined by our brand new assistant producer of Nighttime, Camden Mowery. I'm very glad that we've established him in this role. He's going to be great for Nighttime moving forward and great for HTFN moving forward. Camden, how are we doing today, man?
Honestly, if I can have a little heart-to-heart with you guys are the best. Everyone here at HTF has really welcomed me in here. There's no other show I'd rather do this for. Honestly, I'm grateful. So thank you guys. And
I'm not allowed to cry. I'm not allowed to cry on air, Camden.
Someone's cutting onions. Oh my God.
Someone's cutting onions, dude.
Someone's cutting onions.
But we did have a big slate of college football games this week, and we had a couple upsets as well. Camden, do you want to be the one to introduce the first game for us?
Oh, I guess so. So Iowa played against Purdue this week in Iowa Stadium, and Purdue just looked like the better team. Honestly, Iowa was faced with their first, I want to say, like fast offense. They're not really used to playing at speed like this. Yeah, Penn State had Jahan Dotson, but once Sean Clifford got hurt in that game, it was over. But Iowa just looked terrible. Penn State came out there. Their wide receiver, David Bell, just looked great. He had, 240 yards receiving. The last 3 times he's played against Iowa, he's had over 130 yards. He looked great. Penn State, Iowa did not look great. They dropped all the way down to like 11 in the polls.
Yeah, this is just another upset to add to the long list for the season. Down goes number 2, and Purdue dominated the whole time they were in Iowa City, and Iowa's offense could not get anything going. Spencer Petras threw 4 picks, and the Hawkeyes only rushed for 2.5 yards per carry in the loss. Iowa usually has a pretty strong defense, but that was non-existent as Purdue had 378 passing yards. They won by 3 touchdowns against the number 2 ranked team. They didn't even give up a point in the second half, even with Iowa having big special team returns and multiple red zone trips. This is their second consecutive win against the number 2 ranked team. So kudos to Purdue, but I mean, another number 2 team going down, top 25 team going down. Kyle, what'd you think about it?
The thing that I don't understand about the Purdue Boilermakers, they have one of these big time wins versus top 10, top 5 opponents every season, but they don't play like that the rest of the season. Like, Purdue's probably going to go 7-5, but they have this one great win versus Iowa, right? David Bell played great. Camden touched on it earlier. 11 receptions, 240 yards, and a touchdown. He, yet again, like Camden said, he literally taken the words right out of my mouth. Iowa does not have the speed on defense. They're very physical. They're very good up front, but in the back end, they have no speed. And Purdue absolutely torched them in the back end. And that's the main reason why I think that Purdue ended up winning this game. But Purdue also has a top 2 defense in the Big Ten. I think people were actually kind of forgetting that Purdue was only giving up 18 points a game going into this game. And they forced 4 interceptions on Spencer Petras. And that was probably, to me, the biggest reason why Purdue ended up winning this game.
Well, guys, moving forward to another game, it's no secret as a Florida Gator transfer that I don't like them. I know Kyle loves them, but I'm sorry.
I don't know about that anymore.
Okay. Well, the Florida Gators are no longer ranked. Hallelujah. I think Dan Mullen has actually realized that Anthony Richardson should be starting after taking out Emory Jones after his reception return for an LSU touchdown. During the first half, it was crazy to see that Florida looked outmatched. The Gators looked lost against the Tigers' run game, which came in as one of the worst rushing teams in the country. Even with Richardson leaving at QB and doing positive things, Florida's defense could not get off of the field. With just over 5 minutes in the game, LSU ran the ball 7 straight times with gains of 24, 18, and 13 yards. The Gators showed fight when it came to AR-15 coming in, but it wasn't enough to help rally his defense. Like, Dan Mullen realized, maybe Emory Jones, wow, he's not that great. Let me put Anthony Richardson in. In the second half, why wouldn't you just start him? It's LSU. Go ahead and start him. You lost to an LSU team. That is not good. Camden, what did you think about it?
Honestly, I don't get it, all right? Anthony Richardson has been the better quarterback the entire year. LSU had their coach step down, it seemed like, on that day. I just don't get how you don't start Anthony Richardson. He came in and played one half. He had more passing yards than the other quarterback of LSU, Max Johnson, right? I just cannot believe that he did not start Anthony Richardson. I don't get it. Florida dominated. They had more yards. They had no penalties. What killed them was those turnovers. Kyle, I'm sorry, but what do you think about this game?
What also killed Florida was that run defense. I praised Florida's defense all season long, and they allowed Tyrion Davis-Price to rush for 287 yards and break a single-game LSU record. That was ridiculous by Florida. I don't understand what's happening. Todd Grantham needs to be fired at this point. And Dan Mullen's complacency and arrogance started Emory Jones for half the season, finally putting in AR-15, and he still wants Todd Grantham as his guy. Might as well bring in Ed Orgeron to be the defensive coordinator at this point after stepping down if he doesn't take the USC job. I mean, I think that'd be a great fit. But there's no reason why Florida should have lost this game. I know that they're on the road, but now this is LSU's 3rd straight win versus the Gators, and I think that LSU might just be Florida's kryptonite at this point. They get a bye week before Georgia, but it's going to be ugly.
Yeah, they literally almost took down Alabama, and then you lose to LSU. It makes no sense, but whatever, I love it. I want to talk about BYU. BYU lost its 2nd consecutive game as they lost to the Baylor Bears 38-24 after losing to Boise State the week before. BYU's defense was not good, especially against the run. Early in the season, they were forcing turnovers or taking away key parts of opposing teams' offenses, but not as of late. Their run defense was their biggest issue as they gave up 303 yards on the ground. Baylor's offensive line dominated this game. On the bright side for BYU, though, their wide receiver had a great game. He had 5 catches for 168 yards and a touchdown, and Baylor quarterback Jaron Gall also had a good day and threw for a career high of 342 yards, but that all still did not allow them to keep up with Baylor's offense. Camden, what did you think about this kind of another upset this week?
Well, I'll tell you, Kyle and I were watching a little film on this game, and I think I was yawning the entire time. Baylor is so boring. All their touchdowns were from like inside the 10-yard line, but that is what they do. They will put you to sleep. Like you said, they ran for over 300 yards against that BYU defense. All their touchdowns inside the 10. Are they a sneaky contender in the Big 12 now? They probably won't make the championship, but they still have to play Oklahoma. Hopefully we see an upset there, but still could be some good competition in the Big 12.
Well, no, that might be the upset of the year in the Big 12 is whenever Oklahoma goes to Waco in a couple weeks. And I think that Baylor's going to end up beating them. I think Baylor is actually the best team in the Big 12. They have the only competent defense in the Big 12, and Abram Smith is one of the best running backs in the Big 12 along with Bijan Robinson. He had 188 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Baylor Bears. And Taylor said that this was an upset for BYU losing to Baylor, but I don't think it was really an upset. BYU was kind of overranked coming into the season anyway. I think that they're still on the hype train from last year. The voters were, and nobody was really on the Baylor train because everybody thought they were going to be bottom tier Big 12, but they're really showing how good they are, and they're finally on the national stage. So I'm glad to see Baylor going it, and I think that they're actually going to win the Big 12.
Okay, I'll hold you to that. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But a game did take place Wednesday night, and another top 25 team went down. App State took down their first top 25 team with Coastal Carolina since 2007. The Mountaineers were the first team all season to bottle up Coastal Carolina's rushing offense, holding them to just 55 yards on the ground and fewer than 2 yards per carry. Their star quarterback Grayson McCall completed 15 of 23 passes for 291 yards and a touchdown, but the top-rated offense in the nation on its final 3 drives to close the game, Coastal Carolina failed to reach its own 40-yard line on those last 3 critical drives. And Bryce put together the best game of his career in the biggest moments. The former Clemson and Duke quarterback threw for 347 yards and rushed for 34 yards and totaled 4 touchdowns. Camden, what did you think about this game? It was kind of interesting on Wednesday night.
It was so disappointing for me. I had placed a little entertainment purpose on a lot of teams throughout the week, and the first one happened to be Coastal Carolina to win. And, of course, last-second field goal, Appalachian State wins. Chase Bryce, the transfer, 380 total yards, 4 touchdowns. Like, come on, Coastal, what are we doing? It hurt to watch. It crushed my soul for the weekend.
No, it was definitely the most exciting game. Appalachian State sold out a Wednesday night football game. That just shows how much App State fans love their football. And I think App State actually needs to possibly move up to the AAC, but I know a lot of teams literally just got accepted in the AAC, and App State was not one of them. So they'll stick in the Sun Belt, but App State showed a lot of people how good they are, and I still think Coastal's a really good team. Grayson McCall played a great game besides those last 3 drives. I hope fans don't go on Twitter. I hope fans don't be going on social media and talking bad about Coastal because they're not a bad team. I think they still deserve to be a ranked football team. They just went into a really hostile environment on a Wednesday night, a very short week, and ended up losing the game at a last-second field goal. App State, tip my cap to you. You played a great game.
So you think App State should go to a garbage conference for doing good?
Ooh. No, I mean the AAC is still a better conference overall than the Sun Belt.
Okay.
On paper and actually by the stats. So it's still, they're not a big enough school to be a Power 5 yet, but I still think they need to be in that little bit of a bigger Group of 5 conference before they make the jump.
Okay, Camden, what are your thoughts on that one?
Honestly, you said AAC, right? Which is where UCF, where Cincinnati, they're all going to be moving out of there soon. All these teams that just got accepted in there. Honestly, Appalachian State should move up their competition. The Sun Belt, who do they even play in the Sun Belt? But anywho,
FAU.
FAU is moving up too.
Yeah, FAU is.
Okay.
FAU has officially been accepted to join the AAC as of next season.
Appalachian State should have jumped right on with them because
should have. Coastal should have as well.
They should have. I mean, if you want a chance, you want to play in the bigger spotlight, you got to move up to these other conferences. You need to make play big time games to be able to make a name for yourself. But we're going to get to some big time games in our next segment with primetime picks. So stay tuned. We'll come right back.
My team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I'm going to go Yankees 4-1. I think Garrett Cole's going to give them 7 shutout. It's Garrett Cole. I trust him in this type of situation.
2-1 pitch.
The Yankees lost to Boston in the wild card game, and I told Johnny if my boys lose, I'd come on the show in this.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
UCF keeps the 30 points per game streak alive. I'm going to go 35-10. UCF wins.
Hello everyone, welcome back. So every week I kind of say that this is my favorite time of the show.
It shouldn't be.
But it's not. It's slowly becoming my least favorite, and I don't even know why I take place in this segment anymore because it's not good. I just think that it's for everyone's laughing purposes now. But we're going to talk about some games, and we're going to start with Ohio State, Indiana. I'm going to go Ohio State 35-28. Despite being on a bye week last week, I think that the Buckeyes have been on a roll ever since conference play started, and I think that they still have a chance in the college football playoffs if they win out and win the conference. With Michigan, they moved up because of Iowa's loss, but I still think they're actually playing well with their undefeated season, but I still think Ohio State, Camden, might be the best Big Ten team. And Indiana's offense isn't there. They did face Penn State, Iowa, and Michigan State, but I don't think these games will compare to those against Ohio State. And I think Ohio State's offense is the most productive in college football right now. CJ Stroud is playing at a high level, and Indiana doesn't have much defense that can keep up with them. Camden, this is your glory time. Talk about Ohio State.
Are you sure you want to go to me next?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. CJ Stroud is top 1 in QBR right now. He has the highest QBR out of any quarterback in college football. TreVeyon Henderson has cemented himself as a top 5 running back in the country. And did you know this? He's only a true freshman. He's going to be here for 3 more years. Oh, I'm so excited to be a Buckeye fan. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, that offense is going to put up numbers this week. Look for them to blow out Indiana 45-17.
I'm not going to say a blowout, Camden. I mean, Indiana's a pretty hostile environment. Indiana has not gotten blown out in any game so far this year. Yes, Michael Penix Jr. doesn't look great, but I don't think that Ohio State's going to roll in off a bye week and beat them by 20, 30 points. I think it's going to be close. I think Indiana covers the spread. But do take the over in points, though. I will say that because I don't think a lot of defense is going to be played inside of this game. But I still have Ohio State winning this game 35-31. I think Michael Penix Jr. puts up good numbers, but I think he's going to have a turnover late that's going to cost him the game.
All right, so moving on to this Wake Forest game. I'm going Wake Forest 31-28. I think it's a highly contested matchup between the two teams. It'll be a hard-fought back-and-forth battle. Ultimately, I think Army will keep it very close, but the Deacons' passing game will put them up on top. I don't know. I think Wake Forest is surprisingly really good this year for them. But, Camden, what do you think about it?
Well, I'll tell you, Wake Forest is partying like it's 1944. Now, why is that? Because they are 6-0 for the first time since 1944.
Wow.
Watch this offense play on Saturday. They play such an interesting style of the RPO where both the running back and the quarterback kind of shimmy up to the line, and it makes the defender commit to one of them, and then the other one just takes off. Now, why don't you just bring 2 guys? Because then they'll beat you over the top. This Wake Forest offense is explosive. They're going to beat Army 31-14.
Yeah, I do think that Wake Forest is going to end up pulling up this game. Sam Hartman is a very good quarterback. He was on QB1 a couple years ago, so a lot of you guys probably know who Sam Hartman is. Ended up at Wake Forest. He's now playing great and honestly deserves some talk about being an All-American, maybe an All-ACC conference player. But a lot of you guys are saying that their offense is really good and their pass offense is very good. Let's talk about Army's defense a little bit. Instead of fighting for their country, they're playing for Army right now, and that secondary is one of the best in the country. They're top 20 in pass defense in the whole entire country, and I think that Army's actually going to keep the time of possession on their side. It's at Army. I don't want to pick Army, though. I have to pick Wake Forest in the long run. I have to pick them 24-21, but Army's going to keep this game very close. Look for Sam Hartman to have a struggling game.
Okay, so moving on to Clemson and Pitt. I think Dabo's dynasty is over in Clemson, South Carolina. I'm going Pitt 34-24, even though Clemson's defense is containing teams to only 12.5 points per game. They haven't faced an offense like Pitt yet. And if Clemson is forced to throw, they will have many problems versus Pitt on the road because they are not good this year. Ever since Trevor Lawrence has gone to the Jacksonville Jaguars, it has gone downhill this season. Honestly, when it started with Georgia this first season, I thought it was it was boring, but they contested it against Georgia, who's doing amazing this season. And while one team goes up, the other team is falling down. I don't know. I am not picking Clemson for this game. But I mean, if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter because I'm wrong every single week. So Camden, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win?
As much as it pains me to say, I have to pump the brakes on the Clemson hate, all right? They're still a decent team. They got the wrong quarterback right now. Their defense has got to be top 5 in the country. Their defense is playing amazing.
They have to be.
Yeah, they have to make up for the offense.
They have to be. Horrible offense.
It's Brett Venables, the defensive coordinator. He is coaching amazingly. This game's going to be like 20-17. It's going to be a snoozer, but I still think Clemson's going to pull it off. They are an underdog.
No.
First time in, 6 years in a home game or a conference game. Kyle, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'll correct your fact for you real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know you have it.
New assistant producer, guys, right? He's also wrong about the Clemson game, but I'll get to that. This is the first time that Clemson's not favored in a conference game since 2016 whenever Clemson faced Lamar Jackson in Louisville. But Pittsburgh is going to win. Kenny Pickett's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He's not getting a lot of hype right now. 6-year senior. He ended up beating UCF a few years ago. That's how he got me on the map. That's how he got himself on the map for me. And it looks like I think Pitt's going to end up running away with this game. They're going to end up putting up 30 points on Clemson, and it's not even going to be particularly close. DJ Uiagalelei's not it. He's not that guy. And yeah, Pittsburgh's just going to run away with this game.
All right, Kyle, listen.
No.
I know you want to be big on Pitt, but who have they played that's really
They're
that
winning
good?
the ACC.
Who
There's
have they
no
played
team that's beating
that's
them
really
in the ACC
that
right
good,
now.
though, all right? I know Clemson hasn't beat anyone either. Trust me. It pains me to say
They
that
lost to
Clemson's gonna win
NC
this game.
State, and
I
NC
don't
State is
like
not looking
Clemson.
good.
Clemson's
that game.
offense is not good.
I know they're not good.
But
They're
the
awful.
defense
They're
is
awful.
good,
The
but it's
defense is
not.
carrying
It's
them.
not that
They
great.
keep winning these games somehow. How? I have no idea. Clemson's not good, but they're going to win this game, Kyle.
They lost to Western Michigan.
Oh, okay. Now
you.
I'm actually kind of scared now that I'm actually picking with Taylor on this one because, like she said before, she's not good at primetime picks, and I was off for a week, and I still have a better record than her. I just wanted to point that out
That's
at
good.
some point in this show.
That's
I just
why
wanted
I
to
chose
point
Clemson.
that out. But
Playing
Okay.
chess.
but we still have 2 more games to pick.
Yeah, so let's get to them.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's
go ahead.
Air Force
Go
and
ahead.
San Diego State. I'm going Air Force 24-16. San Diego State struggled against San Jose State in an overtime win, and the Falcons will use their solid running attack to run down the clock and keep the score low to pull out the victory late. Who knows who's going to agree with me on this one because I'm awful. Go ahead, guys. Take it away.
I'm going to have to pull away from you here. I'm rooting for you, but I think San Diego State is going to win. They have the better team, a little bit better offensively. They got a little bit better of an edge defensively. They're going to win the game. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to pick San Diego State too. They've won a fought overtime game versus San Jose State last week. San Jose State's best team in the Mountain West Conference besides San Diego State, so I'm going to take San Diego State in this game.
Guys,
but
quick.
The last game, very quick.
The
very
bounce
quick.
house game. It's
Yeah.
happening. Space game.
UCF
and Memphis. I don't want to pick UCF, but I have to. They're probably going to lose. Whatever. Who cares at this point? UCF 25-28.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be bouncing 31-24. Come on, UCF, don't let me down.
I'm going to be bouncing too, but this is going to be the first time on Nighttime that I pick against UCF in this one. I think, Seth Hannigan is going to lead the Memphis Tigers to a victory over the UCF Knights this week. 35-31. I don't think Mikey King gets it done this week. He's not ready.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see what happens. I'll probably be wrong on every single pick this next week. But thank you guys for watching. Go Knights. Charge on.
Charge on, baby.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.